I'm Managing Editor Kim Schmidt. Welcome to On the Record. Here's a look at what's currently impacting the ag equipment industry. As farm equipment makers look at replacing mechanical and hydraulic systems with remote electrical motors to drive implements, the need for a standardized set of circuitry has become of prime importance. This past week, a committee affiliated with the Agricultural Industry Electronics Foundation and the American Society of Biological and Agricultural Engineers met at the National Farm Machinery Show in Louisville to discuss this challenge. Dr. Marvin Stone, Ag Engineering Regents Professor Emeritus at Oklahoma State University, has been part of this committee work for over 20 years and was involved in the original work which produced the standardized isobus connection on farm equipment. He says engineers are close to formulating standards for connections to safely handle high voltage and high current electricity between tractors and implements, and says farmers may see this technology in their fields sooner than they think. Our correspondent Dan Crummett sat down with Stone to discuss how the project is progressing.
So, in general, people are working now on electrical connector standards with a committee draft that is the first written document, and they advanced that to a draft international standard. At that point, it'll take at least a year, that is, editing the document and then balloting that document before it can be voted on and become a final draft. So at the point that it becomes a final draft, then manufacturers can proceed with some confidence that it's not going to change. In general, though, the manufacturers during the editing of that document have prototypes in place, and they're working on their prototypes and trying to understand what issues need to be resolved. And so the prototypes advance or evolve along with the standard itself. So we're looking at least a year to a year and a half before we could possibly have products out, I think.
Stone says safety is a primary concern. The committees working on the project are considering how best to provide fail-safe communication between implements and tractors, and to ensure operators working with these high-voltage connections are protected from electrical shock in hazardous conditions. Stone also says the new electrical interfaces will contain enhanced data circuits for the expanding use of more sophisticated variable rate applications. Dealers on the move this week include Rotor Brothers and Volker Implement Sales. Rotor Brothers, a two-store Massey Ferguson dealer in Iowa, has taken on the JCB Ag Equipment line. Volker Implement Sales, a two-store John Deere dealership in Michigan, has been sold to Bader & Sons. This brings Bader & Sons' total locations to 9. The new owners are spending $1 million on facility upgrades and a new showroom and shop. Now here's technology editor Jack Zemlicka with his latest report from the Technology Corner.
Thanks, Kim. With so much farm data going digital these days, protecting privacy is increasingly complicated for dealers. Information being pulled from farm equipment is not only more valuable, it's more sensitive and easy to mishandle. Some dealers have anticipated this pitfall by developing in-house custom data privacy agreements, but many have not. To ease the burden of drafting individual agreements, the Western Equipment Dealers Association developed a universal solution for members and any other precision dealers who deal with farm data. Through the use of dealer focus groups and related research, the association built a model they call AgriDocs HQ, a package of documents and training material that standardizes dealer agreement forms. As data management services become more common, there is growing need for dealers to protect their customers' information and do so in a practical way, notes Lance Formwalt, legal counsel for the association.
It's part of a legal issue and it's part of a customer relations issue. So if a manufacturer is out talking about privacy, and if the dealers aren't also thinking about privacy, you've kind of got a gap in the chain. These dealers all have the same storefront, that says John Deere or Case or, Agco, and so you've got to have, if there's a problem with that dealership, it also reflects on the manufacturer. So kind of trying to develop something that allows the dealers to fulfill not only some legal obligations, but frankly, good business obligations was kind of the first challenge.
While data management service and privacy will likely pose ongoing challenges for dealers, having tools available to simplify the security of customers' information could help companies avoid a major data disaster. Back to you, Kim.
Thanks, Jack. While dealers are still anticipating sales to be down in 2015, their outlook has improved slightly, according to the latest Dealer Sentiments and Business Conditions Survey from Ag Equipment Intelligence. In the January update, on average, dealers were expecting sales to be down 8% year over year in 2015 versus down 10% the previous month. AGCO dealers were the most optimistic of those surveyed, calling for sales to be flat. CNH dealers were the most pessimistic, expecting sales to be down 11%. Last spring, the Wisconsin legislature passed a bill that set new weight and length limits for farm equipment and agricultural commercial motor vehicles, or Ag-CMVs. With the new size limits also came some additional steps that are now required for equipment dealers. I spoke with Rob Richard, Senior Director of Governmental Relations with the Wisconsin Farm Bureau, during a clinic held at Midstate Equipment in Janesville, Wisconsin.
I think the big thing that dealers can do, and a couple things are required by law, but right now, as of January 1, farm implement dealers are required to provide the gross vehicle weight of any new or used equipment that they sell to an individual or a buyer. The other thing that's required is on any old machinery or any machine that they sell, they have to outfit it with the lighting and marking that were on there at the time that piece was manufactured. So it requires them to bring, so if modifications were ever made to equipment, they are required to bring it back up to the specs as it was made at the date of the manufacturing date.
When we first reported on the bill, there was speculation that other states may take similar action following Wisconsin. Richard says it is still a wait-and-see situation in terms of action other states may take.
I don't know the likelihood, and it goes back to Wisconsin is a local control state in terms of they allow local jurisdictions to determine how equipment is used on the roadways. Other states like maybe Michigan or Minnesota, that's going to vary because they're more state controlled, and the state legislatures can tell the locals exactly what laws to abide by. So they're looking at Wisconsin to see what we did, but as far as how they're going to implement something like this is really kind of a wait and see.
More information is available at www.agvehicles.dot.wi.gov. And now from the Ag Equipment Archives. In the late 1960s, engineers at the Melro Company began looking for a way to quickly and easily switch between attachments for their Bobcat loader. As the Bobcat increased in popularity, the number of attachments and uses for the machine grew as well, making it essential to find an easy way to switch between the attachments. In 1970, the first Bobcat system hit the market. The system uses a triple wedge design instead of pins to secure attachments to the Bobcat. The pins typically used would rattle and loosen as the operator used the machine. Instead, with the new system, the wedge tightened as the machine was used, making the attachment more secure. As always, we welcome your feedback. You can send comments to kschmidt@lespub.com. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.